Okay, folks. Sorry this is later than I said I was going to do it. I'm trying to learn not to write checks that my body can't cash here. Um, but I want to give you some feedback on the midterms um, because the midterm really was about concepts that are the major concepts of the whole semester that I really want to make sure that you understand. Um, so you had 4 questions, and I randomized them, so they were in different order for everybody. So I'm just going in whatever order it was that I saw when I looked at the setup. The first one was benefits or gifts. What benefits or gifts do we get from the study of and participation in the humanities? Well, one of the things was I don't want you just copying out of the book. And some people just went, the benefits were beauty, blah, 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 blah. It was literally out of the book. Okay? Um, the benefits are, they are that beauty, language, movement, entertainment. It helps us understand our history. It is relaxing. It relieves stress. It helps us connect to other people and understand other cultures and make friends and all of that good stuff. There's tons of them. Okay, so and a lot of people were like writing about why you take this class. That's not really what it's about. It's about why, what benefits or gifts do you get from watching movies, listening to music, reading books, looking at paintings, or playing music yourself, or um, being in a play or whatever. What does it do for you to be creative and to watch and partake of others' creativity, others' artwork? Okay. Role and purpose of art throughout history and how it's changed. Throughout most of history, up until what we would consider the modern period, which is about the 1800s, somewhere around in there, the main purpose of art was religion. If you learn nothing else in this class, learn that. The ancient Greeks did plays for religious festivals. Most visual art was for religious. Look at the art of the Middle Ages, religious purposes. Um, literature. I mean, everything was basically for religious purposes, not just for worship, but to reinforce the religion of that particular um, society or country or wherever it was. There was usually one dominant style of an art form in whatever period it was. You didn't have lots of people doing lots of different things, and what they were doing was for religious purposes, and there were very small parameters within to do that. Today, that is certainly not the case. When you get to the 1800s and drama starts to change and literature and psychology comes into play in society, it becomes less about saying, here's what you should be, here's what our religion says is how to be a good person, and it becomes about holding up a mirror and saying, here's what you are actually like. It's not always pretty, but hey, why don't you do something about it? Okay? That is the purpose of art now, to show us what is going on in the world around us. Sometimes it's beautiful, sometimes it's celebration, sometimes it's life is great, sometimes it's, hey, this is messed up, and perhaps you should do something about it. Okay? So that's the difference. Art used to be about just reinforcing the status quo. Now art is about challenging that. The element of everything being about religion is gone. There certainly is art that is pro-religion, that is for worship or whatever. There's a lot of art that is against religion or mocking it or whatever. And then there's a lot, most of it, that just kind of ignores it altogether, that's not really the main focus of it. Okay? How does art help us address and understand major questions and problems? Well, I think you'll see this again as we start going through the theme chapters, and we talk about love, we talk about death, and all of this different stuff. But art helps us understand other people. It helps us see that we're not alone, that other people are going through similar things to what we're going through. It can help cheer you up if you're sad. It can help you understand your life and your family's life and how relationships work better. It can be used for, like I say, those religious purposes or at funerals or whatever. And a lot of times it's easier to recognize something in your own life that maybe needs changing or that you need to deal with. If you can see it happen to somebody on a movie screen or read about it in a book, then it helps you kind of connect to what's going on with you and identify with that a little bit more. I can't remember if I put the probably I can't remember if I did or not, the lamentation video up when we were talking about dance, the Martha Graham piece where if I didn't, this is going to sound totally crazy. It's from the very beginnings of modern dance, and she's in a like a tube of fabric and she's all trapped in it trying to get out. It's very strange, you know. I mean, it's not like a really like, hey, let's watch that again. But it's called lamentation, which means grieving or calling out in grief. And Martha Graham tells the story that she did the piece once, and this woman in the audience afterwards came up and thanked her. And she found out the story was that her son had been killed not very long before that, and she had never been able to cry about it. She'd never been able to deal with it and cry about it. And when she saw that piece about a woman trapped in her grief, she was finally able to let that go and realize that crying was not shameful and that she needed to grieve for her son, but she had to see it somewhere outside of herself first before she could deal with it herself. So I just think that's a great story. All right, and then the last one, also very important, Apollonian Dionysian. A lot of people copied out of the book that it's, you know, Nietzsche saying this is the intellect and the sun god and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's all true. Apollo was the god of the sun. It means enlightenment, shedding light on things, understanding, intellect. Dionysus was the god of the harvest and fertility and partying and whatever, so that's all about emotion. When you do an Apollonian analysis, you are looking at the themes, the structure, the genre, if it's a movie, the acting, sets, costumes, direction, whatever. You're looking at all the technical details, all of the things that the artist made conscious choices about, and why you think they did that, and what it says to you, and you know where you get what you get out of it, and all of that kind of thing. And then the Dionysian is, what was your emotional reaction? Analyze, you know, how you reacted to it emotionally. Did you like it? Did you not? Did it make you feel certain things? Why do you think that was? And then the other part of the question that a lot of people didn't answer was, why do we need them both? I had a roommate my freshman year of college who came to see my very first play I did in college, and I was so proud of it, and she's like, I didn't like it, it made me think too much. People don't like to think about art or why it is that way or whatever. We just want to watch it and be entertained and move on with our lives, for the most part. But looking at it intellectually is very important because it helps you appreciate the craft. When I teach film appreciation, people always tell me at the end that they enjoy movies in a different way now because they know all of the effort and all of the detail and all of the creativity and the thought process and the trial and error that goes into making a movie. Once you understand how difficult it is to make, and you could appreciate the choices that are being made to write that piece of music or make that movie or agonize over the best way to phrase a certain sentence in a novel, when you appreciate and understand the craft of it, it helps you appreciate art in a new way. And understanding all those choices that they made help you understand why you reacted to it in the way that you did, or why you didn't, you know. It's like in comedy, timing is everything. I'm sure you've all met somebody who can tell a joke word for word the way somebody else tells it, but the way they phrase it and their timing is wrong, and so it's not funny, right? There's something in comedy called the comic three. If you do something 3 times, the 3rd time is when people will really laugh at it. Watch kids' cartoons. They're going to do the same thing 2 or 3 times, and the 3rd time, that's when everybody's going to laugh. That kind of analysis helps you know, okay, I laughed at this because they phrased it that way and they did it that certain way, or this touched me emotionally because they structured this in such a way and filmed it, or the actors did a certain thing. So they go hand in hand. The Dionysian is what gets you involved and makes you care about it, and the Apollonian is where you really appreciate the craft and the technique that go into it, and you appreciate why you reacted the way you did because of the skill of the artist and the way they put that together, or the way they performed that. It's the kind of thing where there's some plays that I've seen multiple productions of, same play done by different groups of people, and have very different reactions to it based on the way the director structured that particular production, if the actors were any good or not. all of that kind of thing affects how you interact with it. And so you have to say, okay, well, I've seen this before. Why did this time I laughed a lot and last time I didn't, or whatever that is? And it helps you understand the craft of the artist and what they're putting out there for you and hoping to have an effect on you. Okay? So I hope that kind of gives you a little bit more detail on the questions of the midterm. The final exam will be similar. It's not going to be the same questions, but it's going to be the same kind of test. The other thing is a lot of people just needed to elaborate more and explain, give examples, give details, say why you thought that. If a question is 25 points, a sentence or two is not 25 points worth of work. I'm expecting you to answer it and then give examples, explain your ideas, say why you think that particular thing, not just, Apollonians about the intellect, Dionysians about the emotion, and you need them both because we have two parts of our personality. That's not a 25-point answer. You need to give examples and explanation, and not what you copy out of the book. Okay? Hope that helps. If it doesn't, let me know. Ask me specific questions. I'm happy to answer anything I can. You do have one more paper to write. I'm going to be grading your Stranger Than Fiction papers this weekend, and then I will post another video talking about those in particular and what needed to be changed or added, or what you need to think about differently before you start thinking about your final project paper. And I think that's it. Can you guys hear my dog snoring? He's like getting louder and louder as I'm talking. This rainy day is making him sleepy. All right, I'll stop rambling. Hopefully that was helpful. If not, let me know. Have a good weekend. Keep your fingers crossed the rain goes away. And I'm here if you need me.